Hi all and welcome to my new video related to Bitcoin education. In this video we'll discuss the difference between Bitcoiners or people who have a good or very good knowledge of Bitcoin versus people who have basic and intermediate knowledge on Bitcoin. And there are several differences and there are many people who talk about Bitcoins, but for me now it's easy to spot if someone has good or very good knowledge about Bitcoin or if it is start basic and start to understand about Bitcoin. First difference is the Bitcoiners, they are focused on the long term, while the basic intermediate people with basic intermediate knowledge, they focus on the short term, short to medium term. Bitcoiners are not discussing so much about the price, while the others are discussing often about current price and what you can do in one next week or in 2 weeks. Also, Bitcoiners they are not using technical analysis to see all this Fibonacci retracement, head and shoulder, this pattern. While people who start to understand Bitcoin, they focus also a lot in technical analysis. Also, at the beginning, I was also discussing and watching videos a lot about is doing the pricing tomorrow, in 1 week, in 2 weeks, what he can do, or which is the line that we have to pass in order to be in a bullish market, in a bull market. Fourth, Bitcoin are not bothered by the short-term price actions. That said, for sure they are unhappy. It's said that Bitcoin now it was crashing from 69K, but they are not bothered. It's not panic. While for people with basic intermediate knowledge, they're partially bothered by short-term price action, and sometimes they sell partially because they cannot handle the crash. And also very important difference, Bitcoiners are saying, if you hear someone who is saying that he's saving in Bitcoin, not investing in Bitcoin, it means that he has a deep and very good knowledge. While in general, people are saying they're still investing in Bitcoin. The last two, the six I think is very interesting. And also before like Bitcoiners are the using the philosophical view. They are discuss about a lot about what Bitcoiners will change the world in a philosophical way, using words or sentences like human flourishing, a leap forward for humanity, a new renaissance, a breakthrough in human history. These are the terms that Bitcoiners are using, and these are, if you hear someone talking about this, something for the humanity, for the next generation, for next centuries, leap forward, renaissance. So these are people who have very good knowledge. While the other are using more in technical word, like Bitcoin is the digital gold or digital property. It is also digital gold and digital property, but for me, before Bitcoin is a technological and financial leap forward for humanity. So I would never describe Bitcoin as a digital world, a digital gold. For sure, it's also digital gold, but it's just undermine this. And if people are defining as a digital world or digital property and no relation to the future of humanity, then they understand a bit of Bitcoin, because to say digital gold you have already have some knowledge, but it's not enough. Last but not least, Bitcoiners are fully convinced by the superiority of Bitcoins in terms of form of money. The other are partially convinced by the superiority of Bitcoin in terms of form of money. In fact, as store of value, generally Bitcoiners are saying it is inevitable that Bitcoin will become a store of value because it's a superior form of money. It just takes time for the world to understand it, while the other people are not so sure, at least about store of value. About medium of exchange and unit of account, we will see once Bitcoin is a store of value. For sure, has a great potential because Bitcoin is in general the best form of money ever, but to become medium of exchange in the Western world, this is a big topic that we will discuss later on. But for store of value, for Bitcoiners, there is no chance that it will not happen. It's only about when. And for how much time, it just depends how much time the financial world needs to understand Bitcoin. Let's move with the 6 examples. I have 3 articles, 2 books, and one famous person in the Bitcoin world. I will read the most important part of this article and these books. They're short parts, but I think it's very worth to read. This is the article Bitcoin is an Idea by Der Gigi, and I strongly recommend you to look this in internet and to read all the articles because it's an amazing article. And let's read the start. They say on October 31st, 2008, the future trajectory of our global society was forever changed. A breakthrough was made, and an unstoppable idea was let loose on the world. An idea so profound, so outrageous, that it was ignored by almost everyone for the first couple of years and is still dismissed by most. So, still dismissed by most. Bitcoin, a peer to peer electronic cash system. The white paper released by Satoshi Nakamoto on this Halloween night describes, it was the 31st of October 2008, it describes an idea that will inevitably take the world by storm. Read the sentence and the philosophy and the profoundness of these words. While most people still think that Bitcoin is nothing more than a get rich quick scheme, completely missing the profound change it will continue to have on society, it becomes more obvious every day that it won't go away. And for the rest, for the get rich quick scheme, if someone is investing Bitcoin for this, he has no clue about Bitcoin. And if you sell Bitcoin before 4 years, then it's your fault because you need Bitcoin. It becomes a safe asset at least with 4 year time horizon. And also Bitcoiners are focused on the long term. You see the humanity, what it will do in the future. Ideas, unlike solid structures, do not perish. Alan Moore remind us. Then the article continues with ideas remain immortal, immaterial and everywhere, like all divine things. On this fateful night in 2008, Satoshi let the genie out of the bottle. We went from a world where digital cash was just an idea to a world where Bitcoin exists. Not only is the idea here to stay, but with every passing block, Bitcoin reminds us that this idea is now a reality. Every 10 minutes, a new block. As we shall see, this new reality is more powerful than one might think at first. It is powerful because it will usher in a new economic paradigm. It is powerful because the time is ripe for it. It is powerful because it can be stopped. As Victor Hugo reminds us, nothing is as powerful as an idea whose time has come. And how we finish the first paragraph, Bitcoin is here to stay, and Bitcoin's time is now. This is the first example. Let's look at another article. Is Bitcoin really bad for the environment? By Martin Lee Olivers, and he wrote in Forbes. And this is also another article that I strongly recommend to read. And the conclusion is Bitcoin is more secure, more egalitarian, and more efficient than any other form of money. It incentivizes renewable energy, harvesting and optimizing non-renewable plants. And it is already the most scalable payment system ever developed. We cannot know the abstract ways in which Bitcoin will shape our world, but focus on this. But no one who truly understands Bitcoin fails to see it as a technological, a financial leap forward for humanity. I think for me, it's just one of the best definition. I often use this when I talk with other people. And look also the sense. One person who discussed about this in such a philosophical way, for sure, he had a very good understanding of Bitcoin. The third is also article, The Number Zero in Bitcoin by Robert Breedlove. I also recommend to read it. And if he is also started saying Satoshi gave the word Bitcoin, or is the conclusion, it could be a true something for nothing. His discovering of absolute scarcity for money is an unstoppable idea that is changing the world tremendously, just like his digital ancestor, the number zero. And then he continues making a comparison between the number zero and Bitcoin. Another great article to read. And you see, changing the world tremendously. People who discuss in this way are for sure understood Bitcoin. Now, two books. First, The Basic of Bitcoins and Blockchain by Anthony Lewis. For the first time in history, we have a system that sends value from A to B without the physical movement of items or using specific third-party intermediaries. It is difficult to overstate how important a milestone this is in the evolution of payments. They say also, I get shivers down my spine every time I think of Bitcoin like this. So I really understood so deep that it is a breakthrough in the technology world, and especially in the payment world. For the first time, we can send value digitally without a third party. Till 2008, we could send value or physically or sending also via letter or via post, but still physical movement of token, or digitally, so updating a ledger, but a ledger should be controlled by a central authority. In this case, we can send value digitally without a central authority. And then, as popularized by cryptocurrency industry commentator Tim Swanson, Bitcoin is designed as censorship-resistant digital cash. From this book, you can see that Anthony Lewis spent a lot of time on Bitcoin and understood Bitcoin. The Book of Satoshi by Phil Champagne. Its conclusion is Bitcoin's major impact has been to allow the population of the world to reconsider how a currency should function. It opens the door for humanity to a new monetary system, an electronic renaissance. Also, if someone is saying renaissance, change of the world, leap forward for humanity, is it means that he has a really good understanding of Bitcoin. We finish with Michael Saylor. Is for me like it will be the hero of our time. Years from now, it will be recognized one of the first or the most influential people, maybe the most influential people who who opened the eyes to many people, and many people also. One is me, that I saw a lot of videos of him at the beginning, that to get curious on Bitcoin and decide to study more and more Bitcoin. A last thought that I have. You can see here, and there are also other examples. So many people coming from different countries and with different backgrounds are coming to similar conclusion regarding to Bitcoin. Has it ever happened with anything else? Have you heard so many different people coming from different discussing such philosophical way, like changing the world, leap forward for humanity, or something similar for any company or anything else in the last 30, 50 years? And maybe it could be the internet, but it was not at this level. And for the rest, for me, I don't think I have a comparison. Yeah, that's just my last thought. And I think with this lecture, you can also spot if someone has a basic intermediate understanding of Bitcoin or if he has a really good understanding of Bitcoin. Thanks, and see you in the one of the nice in the next videos. Bye bye.